Hi, everybody. So today's lesson is going to be for Thursday, March 26th. First up, you have a bell ringer. The bell ringer question is on the live agenda. It's what were two items decided for Europe after the war ended? This was this one slide you did yesterday. Explain those two things and why that was agreed upon by the Allies. So pick two and explain them. If you have not responded to the discussion post questions, like the discussion thread, I posted some questions on there, so please go and do that. I would like to hear your thoughts and what you have to say about the Cold War. All right. Yesterday we did slides 1 through 4, but there was really only one writing slide. Slide 4, how the Cold War started, what was the end of World War II really like, which led directly to the Cold War, and why. So there's 4 reasons right there. Today we're doing slides 5 through 7. 5 and 6 are writing slides. 6 is a picture. 5 and 6 are writing slides. 7 is a picture. So slide 5 is titled The Cold War. There's one vocab word, and it's just Cold War. It is defined as an era between the United States and the Soviet Union, an era of high tension and bitter rivalry. I want you to note something, that after both world wars, there was a Red Scare. There was a Red Scare after World War I, the first Red Scare in the 1920s. And, I mean, we have the Bolshevik Revolution and the rise of communism in Russia, so that's going to start in 1917. So that would make sense why we have the first Red Scare. And then we have the second Red Scare after World War II. So why do we keep having Red Scares after a world war? Think about this. Why does this happen? Because it's happened 2 times. Okay. In addition to something that's happened 2 times after both world wars, the United States has emerged as a global superpower. After World War I, we were really the only country that had a stable economy until the Great Depression. So for like 10 years, we had a stable economy, and we came out as a superpower after World War I. After World War II, we came out as a global superpower with the Soviet Union. So we really are a strong force after both world wars, and maybe we have the confidence to take on communism after both world wars because we're such a superpower and we have a Red Scare for both. So just something to think about. So despite our fears of communism, we were allies with the Soviet Union during World War II. We talked about that. One of the biggest things that's going to cause some mistrust is our use of the atomic bomb, which nobody knew about. Nobody had any ideas about the Manhattan Project. Our own vice president didn't know about the Manhattan Project. So Stalin's going to say, okay, well, I thought we were friends. Why didn't you tell me any of this? Also, I don't care about you anymore. I'm going to do what I want. We have defeated Nazism because communists don't like fascists or Nazis. So that was taken care of. His next goal is to destroy capitalism and democracy. So that's why we are head to head with the Cold War, or with the Soviet Union in the Cold War. Great Britain, and I underlined some things for you too, and I re-uploaded them. Hopefully you can see that. Great Britain and the United States were worried about the Soviet Union. Oh, Stalin. So why he's able to do some of these things, and I have it on there, he's getting rid of political parties. You know, if I had my checklist, if we were in the classroom, I'd be pointing that out. You know, he's getting rid of anybody that disagrees with him. He's taking away your freedom of speech, which is newspapers and the press, and getting access to that true information and just the freedom of information. So he's getting rid of that. He's putting people in jail or the gulag that disagree with him. This is nothing new for Stalin. He's always done this, but he was supposed to be providing a different kind of lifestyle for the people that he was ruling. He promised this at the Yalta Conference and the Potsdam Conference. So why is he lying? So this is why it's a little bit of a shock to us, because it's like, oh, okay, well, he said he was going to do something and he's not doing that. Rigging elections. So this is something that Russia has done for a very long time. The United States has also had a hand in rigging elections in certain countries when we want a leader to win. We do this a lot during the Cold War. If you watch the John Green video, which you should have watched it yesterday, we rig elections to a point, or we support leaders in certain countries because we don't want the communist candidate to win. Okay, so we are stopping these elections from having the communist win, and we are supporting like maybe the Democratic leader or the one that's less communist than the other one. and Stalin is rigging elections and making the communist candidate win. So he's going through these countries and saying, hey, if you're a communist, run for leader of this country, and he'll make sure that that person wins, whereas we are going around trying to stop those candidates from winning. The people in Germany who are being displaced because their home has been chopped up like a pie, we as the Allies have decided that they need to be taken someplace safe. They need to be removed safely, because remember, Germany is cut into West Germany and East Germany, and the United States controls the west side and the Soviet Union controls the east side. So those people are trying to flee. Nobody wants to live in the Soviet side. Nobody wants to live in the Soviet side. So they're trying to leave. Same with like Poland, right? Stalin's trying to take these countries and make them satellite states. So people are fleeing. They don't want to be a satellite state. They don't want to be a part of the Soviet Union. They don't want this. So they're trying to run away. Well, whereas Stalin is going to do this in a horrible way, and people are going to die. I think I have the number. Over 1 million were forced to relocate. Several hundred thousand Germans died. He's going to forcibly remove them. He's going to murder them. You are a satellite state and you like it. Like, that's what it is, right? So we have to get in there and save them before. I mean, it's kind of like the refugees. Like, they're trying to flee because they don't want to be a part of the Soviet Union, and we have to save them before Stalin gets to them. Unfortunately, we cannot save all of them. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. There's lots of words on here that I want to get to and explain. So we have 4 vocab words. We have Iron Curtain, containment, Truman Doctrine, and the Marshall Plan. So the Allies were very sad to see Europe and some European countries fall to a communist dictator after all they had experienced in World War II. So we just suffered a world war, and we had dictators and fascist leaders, and thinking that this would be different now, and it's not, and realizing that it's not different, and that we still have a dictator trying to take over. I mean, that's very sad. It's disheartening, and you feel like there's no hope. So you just fought in a world war to stop these dictatorships and to provide, freedom for these people, and another dictator is coming and trying to take over. So it's very sad. Winston Churchill travels to the United States. He's not the prime minister anymore. He travels to the United States and he makes a speech, and it's his famous Iron Curtain speech. And the Iron Curtain, I have a picture and I'll show you, is not a physical curtain. It is figurative. It's not real. And he's saying that the Soviet Union has created an iron curtain which has divided Europe. It has divided it to a point where it's communist on one side, democracy, capitalists on the other side. And it's sad. It's very sad because, again, you fought in this war and you fought for freedom, and you have a dictator trying to take over. So that's his famous Iron Curtain speech. The United States feels, and this is something that I asked in the discussion yesterday, the United States feels that we need to stop communism from spreading, not only because we have very strong beliefs supporting capitalism and democracy, but because we believe that it's our job to protect democracy. In World War II, Franklin Roosevelt said that we are the arsenal of democracy, meaning we have to protect democratic institutions, and we have to protect the rights and freedoms of people around the world. And that's a big responsibility, and that's going to come back at us, thinking that we need to protect everybody from communism. When we have Korea and Vietnam, those are terribly, terribly, terribly difficult wars to fight, and a lot of people disagreed with them. So, us getting involved in everything and trying to save the day, that's not always the right decision, right? So we have to kind of step back and realize, like, maybe we shouldn't get involved in all of these issues. But this is the beginning of the Cold War, and we don't realize that until kind of like the end. So arsenal democracy, we come up with the idea of, or this policy called containment. So how do we protect the democracies that are there? And how do we contain communism? Like, stop it, contain it. How do we stop it from spreading? Okay, so this policy focused on the United States resisting the communism from spreading. This could be anything from like partnering up with countries and saying, hey, you should resist communism. let's contain it, let's stop it from spreading, stop it in its tracks, and we'll do this and this and this for you, right? If you have the government of the United States backing you up, you're doing great. So we have two things to enforce containment. We have the Truman Doctrine, which was 1947, and this was government money to Greece and Turkey to resist communism. So we're basically saying to Greece and we're saying to Turkey, do not fall to communism. Do not catch the cold of communism. Listen, this sickness is spreading. We'll give you money. We'll support you economically because everyone's struggling after World War II. We will support you. We'll give you money. Do not fall to communism. Great. That's really great. Well, it's not enough. So a year later, 1948, we have the Marshall Plan. And like as I've been referring to communism as a cold, that is, everyone is catching this cold. I think of Marshall Plan as like the medicine. Marshall M, medicine M. Marshall Plan is the medicine for the cold of communism. We are going to spend $13 billion in 17 countries. We're going to provide food for these countries. We're going to provide equipment for the farmers in these countries, rebuilding factories, homes. These cities and these countries were destroyed from World War II. So we are going to help them rebuild. Remember, after World War I, we realized this is one of the things that Germany was struggling with, was rebuilding, and why they, started World War II. So let's not provide them a chance to have a fascist or communist dictator or any other radical leader establish themselves in these countries, right? So we have economic deprivation leads to political radicalism. Let's take care of it for them. Everyone is struggling. Let's help them. Let's help them fix their economies, help them fix their cities, and help them rebuild and establish a strong government of democracy so that no radical leader can take over. So the Marshall Plan is basically allowing us to provide resources to these countries and saying, listen, we'll help you so you're not struggling and no radical leader will pretend to save the day, because we learned this the hard way. So we're going to provide resources to 17 countries so that they don't have a dictatorship rise or fall to communism. We're basically bribing these countries, but we're helping them too, and say, you know what, we just helped you, so you need to listen to us, please, and not fall to communism. And we don't want somebody to take over, right? Hitler used the people's suffering to take over and institute a fascist dictatorship. So people are going to suffer in these countries in Europe, and so we need to help them so that nobody else can take advantage of them. Let's look at this picture. The blue, let's see, we have the red obviously is the Soviet Union, and the blue is like the western side. So those, and you can see, like, if you can see it, like we have West Germany and we have East Germany. So West Germany is controlled by the Allies and the United States, and East Germany is controlled by the Soviet Union. And you can see, like, he's taking lots of land. Joseph Stalin is taking land. We have Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia. He is taking these countries and he's instituting a communist economic system and communist policies. So this is why it's important that the United States steps in, again, not only because we have strong beliefs towards capitalism and democracy, but also we don't want these countries to have a dictatorship. I mean, we just got rid of them and now they're falling to a dictatorship again. It's not fair, and we're trying to help them. And you can see down here it's blue. Turkey and Greece are blue because of the Truman Doctrine. We have sent them money and aid and support and resources so they don't fall to communism. They're very close to the Soviet Union, like proximity-wise and geographically, like they're very close. So we can't let them catch this cold of communism. I think that's all I have for you all. Yeah, I think that's it. So do your summaries for those slides. Make sure you have the vocab words and answer the questions in the discussion thread if you have not already. That's it. Do the bell ringer too. Bye, guys.